Good morning, I'm Taylor Safford, the President and CEO of Pier 39, and I want to welcome you to our 30th anniversary of the arrival of the sea lions. Yay! First, I'd like to take a moment to recognize a few special guests here today. Nina Randalls, who's the Executive Director for the Water Emergency Transportation Authority. Randall Scott, the Executive Director for Fisherman's Wharf Community Benefit District. Mike Martin, the Deputy Director for the Ports Real Estate Division. Barb Newton, the Executive Director of California Travel Association. Dan Hodap, Senior Waterfront Planner for the Port. Jim Beaumont, President of Local 16. Joe D'Alessandro, President and CEO of San Francisco Travel. Kim Brandon, President of the Port Commission, and Gail Gilman, Commissioner of the Port Commission. Thank you all for being here. And thank you all for braving the weather to be here to join us. It's been my great good fortune to work at Pier 39 for the past 41 years, and I remember well the dark days that followed the October 1989 Loma Prieta earthquake. Visitor traffic on the pier dried up to a trickle in the months following the quake, and they were quite bleak. I remember Dan Rather leading the evening news for what seemed like weeks on end with images of the collapsed Bay Bridge and the 880 freeway. He certainly did not help the city's recovery efforts. By January, the city was busy rebuilding, but visitors continued to stay away. It was at this time that Pier 39 began receiving complaints from its marina tenants about a small group of sea lions that began hauling out on K-Dock. The number of sea lions grew very quickly, and Pier 39 soon realized it had a real problem on its hands. After conferring with regulators and marine mammal experts who advised that these were federally protected animals, a decision was made to relocate the affected boat owners and let the sea lions continue to use the dock with the hope that they would eventually find a new home and leave. Fortunately for us, they did not. We then noticed that the few visitors who were here were gathering and watching these fascinating animals frolic and play. Our PR team decided to send out a press release about this new natural attraction, and word began spreading that something wonderful was happening at Pier 39. Within weeks, the sea lion story was covered by the Today Show, Good Morning America, the New York Times, the London Times, Pravda, and dozens of other news outlets. One thing was crystal clear: the sea lions were big news with a capital B. Pier 39's management quickly congratulated itself on being public relations geniuses, and the rest is history. For 3 decades, this herd of sea lions have made Pier 39 their home. And over that time, over 250 million people have watched the sea lions bark, roughhouse, and play King of the Mountain on the docks below. We are so proud to have been stewards for this amazing group of pinnipeds and for the work of our partners at the Aquarium of the Bay and the Sea Lion Center. I want to thank all of you for coming today to help us celebrate these amazing animals. I'd now like to invite George Jacob, President and CEO of the Aquarium of the Bay, to the podium. George.
Thank you, Taylor. A quick 2-minute video on how we got here in the last 18 months.
What began as a doodle on a napkin has quickly blossomed into the largest public STEAM initiative in California. This is a truly compelling example of how science and art can intersect to create one of the Bay Area's most vibrant, visual, engaging, and educational public artworks. Introducing Sea Lions of San Francisco, an artistic celebration of 30 years of sea lions in the Bay. Sea lions are fascinating and much-loved marine mammals, and they have a unique history here in San Francisco. In 1989, these marine marvels mysteriously began arriving in the Bay, quickly set up permanent residence, and were soon making quite a splash, becoming the biggest tourist attraction on the pier. The Aquarium of the Bay and Sea Lion Center naturalists provide daily programs to educate and engage thousands of people from around the world who come to see this friendly bay community. Despite being covered under the Marine Mammal Protection Act, our much-loved neighbors are under threat. They are currently classified as endangered, facing a high risk of extinction in the wild. The aim of the San Francisco exhibition is to celebrate our playful Bay residents, but also to generate awareness of the largest existential threat to our planet. No blue, no green. A distinguished and expert jury selected 30 Bay Area artists to each paint a unique 6-foot-tall sea lion, one to commemorate each year of their frolicking, barking presence on Pier 39. Each painted sea lion is an environmental ambassador. The vibrant and diverse sculptures will form an engaging educational walking tour along the Embarcadero, telling the story of the San Francisco sea lion and their plight. So visit the sea lions today. Follow the trail to discover each stunning artwork and learn about the animals, the artists, and their messages. And join us in celebrating the 30th anniversary of our cherished marine friends.
Thank you. I know the time is really tight, but excess phosphorus and nitrogen creates an algae bloom that eventually impacts the sea lions, especially with domoic acid, which is a neurotoxin. There are stories like these embedded in QR codes on every single sea lion. I'm really happy to see all the 30 artists here today. The youngest is 9 years old. And please scan your QR codes and avail some interesting facts about sea lions. They're amazing creatures. They can hit speeds of up to 25 knots. They can dive up to 900 feet. And they have hearing that can go up to 40 kilohertz. So there are some interesting facts that impact sea lions, which serve as a lens to some of the conditions in the bay, both in terms of microplastics and the other 4 that were listed in a short video. This would not have been possible without the sponsorship of Big Bus, Landry's, Alaska Airlines, and Gray Line Buses. So thank you, our sponsors. I would just want to acknowledge a few other people. Dan Hodap from the Port of San Francisco helped us with the permitting process, the difficult permitting process. So Dan, thank you very much. I'm delighted to have the president of the Port Commission, Kimberly, and Angelique, our board member, Steve Marktinger, our board member, Gail Gilman from the Port Commission, and our partners from SF Environment, SF Travel, and Golden Gates Parks. Our partners from the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, Colonel Cunningham is here, so thank you for making it. Chris Gallagher is here, thank you for making it. And our friends in the media from BBC to New York Times, thank you for being here. And lastly, but not the least, our wonderful mayor, London Breed. Thank you.
Thank you, George. And with that, I would like to introduce and thank the Honorable London Breed and have her join us at the podium. Thank you.
I was in high school during the 1989 Loma Prieta earthquake. Went to Galileo High School right up the street. And I actually spent a lot of time at Pier 39. In particular, sometimes we used to maybe leave class a little bit early and come and hang out in the arcades. But I also remember the time when one of my science teachers proposed, it was like 5th period, it was right after lunch, and as an extra credit assignment said that if we came down here to see the sea lions, that we could get extra credit, we'd all have to meet down here. He actually came down here as well. And we didn't understand the significance. We know that they were loud and they were barking and we were like, we were doing the same things. But then we started to study it, we had to write about it, we had to talk about it and its significance. And it was just odd that this had not happened before until after this earthquake. And just understanding really endangered species and really studying science in a different way and looking at the environment and the planet and animals and so on and so forth, that's the kind of thing that really sparked a lot of my interest in really changing how we address the challenges around the environment. In fact, I drove my grandmother crazy because I came home and wanted to recycle everything. And we didn't have, at that time, the blue bins and the green bins and all of that stuff. And there were places that you had to go to take those things. But, you know, it was really an incredible experience. And Pier 39 has been just really an institution for so many years. So many visitors from all over the world come here on a regular basis to just not only enjoy the incredible restaurants, the aquarium by the bay, and many of the great stores, and also the places that you can buy wonderful candy, including pink popcorn still, which I am very excited. If you know what pink popcorn is, you are probably my age. And, you know, it also, the Sea Lions really created, you know, a different kind of feeling, a different kind of warmth. You see them, you watch them, and I don't know what it is about watching the sea lions and listening to them, but, you know, sometimes minutes go by, then sometimes even an hour can go by before you realize that you actually have to go. But it is so fascinating and great that for the past 30 years, they have continued time and time again to come back to Pier 39, and people, not only do the tourists who visit San Francisco look forward to coming here, San Franciscans look forward to coming here during that time as well. And so I'm really grateful to be here, excited about what this continues to do to really engage the community and really support the Sea Lions and call attention to what we need to continue to do to protect the bay, to protect our environment, and to make sure that they do not become an endangered species. It is so critical that we do a better job as stewards of this earth. And so I want to thank so many people here today, including the Pier 39 Marina staff, the Marine Mammal Center, the Aquarium of the Bay, the Marina Operations, bay.org, and the Port of San Francisco. So many organizations continue to make sure that our port and our pier are attractive, are also economically vibrant, but also stewards of the environment. And I think that's so critical to the success and the future of our city and of our planet. And so thank you all so much for being here. And I invited, since the Sea Lions love to get attention, I invited Herbert, the king of the Sea Lions, to come here today to accept this proclamation, making it Sea Lion Day in San Francisco. But King Herbert said, you know what? King Herbert couldn't lose the weight to come up the stairs this time around. As you know, they weigh hundreds of pounds and it's very challenging. So instead, I want to ask, who do I want to ask to accept this proclamation? Taylor, why don't you come up? Because, and you can deliver the proclamation to the Sea Lions so that they can know that today, as we celebrate 30 years, it will always be remembered as Sea Lion Day in the city and county of San Francisco.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Breed. That was wonderful. Next, I'd like to invite Sheila Shander, Director of Marina Operations here at Pier 39, to join the.
Thank you. Hopefully not from the sublime to the ridiculous, because I'm not particularly used to doing public speaking, so here goes. When I heard our Honourable Mayor mention she was in high school when the Sea Lions first came to Pier 39, I have to say I thought, oh God, I had already been working here as Harbour Master of Pier 39 Marina for 4.5 years when that first happened. So before you all do the math, I'm going to launch into this. So as Taylor had mentioned, you know, we'd really been hit hard by the earthquake. I felt like I was working in Camelot when I was working at Pier 39. It was so marvelous. We hadn't really sustained a lot of damage, but getting the visitors back had proved to be pretty challenging. So it was really a momentous event when this one animal that came up onto the end of J Dock, he had some filament line around his neck, so he got nicknamed Flea Collar by some children. But in fact, that heralded the most incredible arrival. And I want to really emphasize this. This didn't happen over a protracted period of time. This happened very quickly. We went from maybe 10 or 20 animals to topping out at 1,400 on K-Dock within a matter of months. So it was a very overwhelming and incredible event. And we didn't really know how we were going to deal with it or what we were going to do. And eventually, the Marine Mammal Center came out and they said, you have to close down K-Dock. We had been trying to maneuver our way through hundreds of sea lions to allow our boaters that were there to get through it. And it was just proving a nightmare. So we closed it down and we relocated our boaters to the East Harbor. And that's when we started to talk about ways that we could accommodate them. Because by then, it was so obvious that this was a huge attraction, not just, as Taylor said, to our local community, but also to international and national visitors. What I want to share with you very briefly is my own experience of what those first few months were like, because it was incredibly bizarre and strange. All of a sudden, we'd gone from having no business on the pier to having 1,400 sea lions and about the same number of press, all converging on our property. And this turned out to be an incredibly happy and vibrant event that everybody wanted to record, and they wanted to make it humorous, and they wanted to make it, something that everyone would enjoy. So every national, international news person came here and were filming, and we were treated to a burst of what I can only describe as alliteration from the giddy press. So, for example, there were headlines that trumpeted, "Something fishy's going on at Pier 39, lion tamer Sheila, nautical nuisances, the boys of Blubber are back in town," and so on and so on. And my voicemail at my office, actually it was a machine in those days, was full every morning with very mischievous recordings. We didn't have a caller ID then, so I never was able to track them down. But it was sea lion barking messages and lots of versions of "I left my ARF in San Francisco." So it was a very humorous time, and it transformed our business. In addition to having to escort our boaters and then having to relocate them, we actually really just had to think about how could we make this, keep it a natural attraction. You don't want to make it some kind of artificial event. We had been blessed with this incredible opportunity, and we needed to manage it well. And we needed to manage it safely, and we needed to make sure that the public had safe access. So you've seen how that's evolved over the years. We have this beautiful overlook, the Sea Lion Center. But at the time when I was making those decisions, along with the executive group of Pier 39, there were some very helpful suggestions that were coming in from the more quirky and whimsical members of society, which was a truly terrifying insight at the time into some people's minds. But those who thought we still maybe wanted to get rid of them would suggest things like deterring them by putting broken glass on the dock, or some versions of heavily designed cattle prods that would work, and things like that. But on the fun side, some people designed all kinds of lovely attraction-style floats. But what we ended up doing, of course, was building floats that looked just like the normal docks. So we tried to keep that very natural attraction. Anyway, it's been a phenomenal ride for all of us. It's completely changed my job description, because I never thought I would be an expert, if you like, in representing the pier at the Sea Lions. So I just want to say this last thing, excuse me. We have a wonderful array of marine life, from sea lions to dolphins. We've even had whales in the bay. We have pelicans, and it's all showcased A lot of it showcased in our lovely aquarium here, but you can also go out on the end of the pier and see a lot of that. So while we enjoy this phenomenon, I just want to reiterate what our Honourable Mayor has said. Let's just take this moment in history and continue that environmental stewardship and vigilance so they can thrive and just keep coming back. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sheila. And this concludes the presentation. A couple of notes. As you leave Pier 39, please make sure to look at the new sea lion topiary that we've installed in the entrance plaza. That will be a permanent installation going forward. We can't have a celebration without cake. So we cordially invite you to stay. Here comes the sea lion cake. We're going to, a couple of photos, and then we'll all share it. So thank you all very much for coming.